Welcome to the Scoop World Order Week 3 Training Camp Recap Edition. A day off for the boys on a Friday. I've never seen that before in Ohio State camp history, but congrats, Ryan Day, taking care of the boys, throwing them a little bone, a little dinner last night, magic tricks, the whole 9 yards. He's had a tough camp, a lot of reps, so we're going to break that down, see what tomorrow looks like. Is it going to be a full scrimmage? I don't think so if they had the entire day off today, but take care of the boys, get them through the season, get them to the first game. We'll see what that all means. Air Nolan just won a huge game against Juju Lewis, who is one of the top 26 or 2026 quarterbacks in the country. It's going to be amazing to see how he ends up panning out. But Air, big win. Langston Hughes, huge game on ESPN. We just finished it up. We're about to break all that down and break down what was going on in camp this week. So with that being said, as always, thank you. And I appreciate all you guys tuning in, loading this up, clicking that like button, clicking subscribe, clicking that little alert bell. As always, we appreciate taking your questions. We appreciate all you guys do for this show. Tons of high school football. It's kind of week 0 for high school football. It's going crazy Thursday, Friday, and tomorrow night. And then we get into college football starting next week. I cannot wait to watch that with you guys, even if it's week 0 and it's not Ohio State. So I'm going to be breaking it all down. But with that being said, I'm going to talk to the biggest Air Nolan fan in the entire world, and my good friend, Nevadabuck. Nevada, we got Air Nolan. A lot of people don't like Air Nolan. I know you love Air Nolan. His statistics last year were absolutely incredible. Got a huge win tonight versus young Juju Lewis, who is the top 2026 player in the country. Came down to about the 1 yard line. How are you feeling about the future of Ohio's quarterback position?
Well, I think, for those of you that were fortunate enough to watch him on ESPN2 tonight, Air Nolan, basically does what he does. And, I think that this kind of signifies to me that Ryan Day is moving away from these kind of classic NFL type thrower-only types of quarterbacks. And, a quarterback like Air Nolan, if you guys watch him tonight, look, he's not like a huge running quarterback, but he ran opportunistically. He used his legs to extend plays. He put the ball in good spots. Plenty of arm strength. I know there was some comments about his arm strength or something, which was just silly. There's been people talking about, I don't think he's a classic quarterback. Man, he's a really good quarterback. And at the college level, he can be devastatingly effective with that combination of arm strength, arm talent, escapability, mobility, and willingness to stick it up there and run. I thought he played terrific tonight. He had some bad drops, but otherwise played great, and they won a great ball game. For a high school game, that was about as good as it gets. I think it was like 40-39 or 42-41 or whatever it was. But terrific game, lots of fun, and Air Nolan put it all on the line tonight.
Yeah, Langston Hughes versus Carrollton is about as good of a game as you'll ever see for week 1. I mean, Juju Lewis is the top player, maybe in the nation for 2026. Their quarterback got him down to the 1 yard line, had an excellent play call. Tight end got tackled on about the 1 foot line. So, hey, sometimes that happens, but it was a fantastic game. Great start. I know a lot of people on here were watching that on ESPN, but Air looked good. I mean, he got the game winning touchdown with less than a minute and a half to go. So, can't fault that. Exciting future. Again, I know a lot of people were bent that we lost Dylan Raiola, but this kid showed up. I mean, that was a big time football program they played. They played on the road at Carrollton. Carrollton's one of the top 20 top 20 programs in the country. So it was really fun watching it. I enjoyed it. Air's developed. He's a leader. He's a senior now and looked really good. I mean, I'm telling you, I really enjoyed watching that, and it was fun jumping on here after that. We're going to get into week 3 of training camp. There's been a lot of craziness going on in training camp. They've done this 2-field thing. They've gotten probably more for per practice per capita, more reps than I've ever seen at an Ohio State camp in the last 30 years or so. Nevada, what are your pluses and minuses to that? Ryan Day kind of threw the kids a bone, took them out to dinner last night at the Brazilian Steakhouse, gave them a full day off today. I have no idea what to expect for Saturday in terms of, are they going to do a scrimmage? I doubt it. Probably a practice, break them off a little bit tomorrow, but not a full scrimmage. But what are your thoughts on how camp has gone? The 2-field deal, rotating the O-line, getting all the reps. What are your thoughts on it so far as it's come to fruition over the last 3 weeks?
Well, I mean, jumping right to the thing that people care about the most, the quarterback derby. Look, the information that we're getting is that the last couple of weeks that Devin Brown's been looking pretty good, and that he's uh, probably outplayed Kyle McCord the last couple of weeks. Is that enough to vaunt, to put him into the starting quarterback position? We don't think so, but could it happen? Sure. I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world, but right now I still believe that seniority, uh, years in the program probably carry the day. And I think that, for Ryan Day, if you think about it this way, if Ryan Day anoints Devin Brown the starter, basically he said to Kyle Brown, to Kyle McCord, look, you're done. I mean, that's the message.
Nope.
Whether or not people want to hear it or not, whatever, that would be like, hey, I know you've been here for 3 years or whatever it's been. You this, blah blah blah. You're done. This guy passed you. And so if you come back, it's strictly because he messed up or he got hurt or whatever it is. But you've been passed up on the depth chart. If he goes the other way and gives McCord a chance to start, then basically, if McCord doesn't get it done, he goes to Devin Brown, and it's a much more logical kind of movement to that guy on the depth chart. So to me, I know some people are freaking out. They're saying, "Hey, why Devin's been playing a little better lately? Why doesn't he start?" I don't see it that way. I think you got to give the start to Kyle. You have a short leash. You see what both of them can do, and you'll find out these first 3 games are not losable games. So.
No.
Let's put out the thought of, we got to lose a game before we find out where we have the quarterback position. We'll find out where we have the quarterback position in 3 games that are not losable. And I think that's how Ryan is going to play it. Now, we'll reserve the right to change our mind, but, the takeaway that people should have is Devin Brown's really good. Devin Brown's really good. I was one of the early guys on the Devin Brown train, but I still don't believe he's done enough to grab the starting spot. But he's a really good quarterback. There's a reason he was ranked so highly coming out of high school, and he does a lot of really good things, including extend plays with his legs, which I love out of the quarterback position, and he does that frequently. So good things are in store for Ohio State. Fans should be excited.
Yeah, I mean, the people I've talked to in the program that are really high up and decision makers, they love Devin Brown. I'm just telling you, that's what it is. I mean, he's outperformed Kyle McCord. Kyle's turned the ball over a lot in camp. Hasn't been consistent. I think that he's got, obviously, the chemistry with Marvin, but, I think that this is one of those preordained competitions where he will be anointed the starter based on his, extra year in the program, keeping the older guy happy type of deal. But I think Devin's outperformed him. And I don't think that. I know that because I've talked to people that have been there, not me, people that actually have eyes on the practice, on the program. They talk about Kyle being a little bit of a statue in the pocket. It's not nothing's live. So, there's times where people are like, oh, well, is that a sack? Could he have completed that ball? Well, when the live bullets start flying and we play a real team, and we won't play a real team until we play Notre Dame at South Bend, like all of a sudden, those little touch sacks or those little inferences where pass rushers get close to them and then it disrupts their arm angle or their pass, like those start to add up and those start to become real. So when you're in, these scarlet field practices and gray field practices and they're switching all this stuff up and trying to get looks of everybody, and there's a little bit of disruption on the offensive line to the quarterback and say, oh, well, he's not live, so stay off the quarterback, stay away from him, don't hurt him. Then Kyle McCord can look a little bit better, but Devin Brown can get out of that. That's the thing. Devin can escape. People like blocking for Devin more than they like blocking for Kyle, and I think that means something, especially if we're not as proficient as we were last year when we had Paris and Dwan. Because again, we're not going to be as good pass blocking as we were last year. We had Paris and Dwan. Paris is a top 6 pick. Dwan is balling out. Dwan probably should have been a first or second round pick. And now, we grab 2 new tackles, new center, so there's going to be a little bit more leaky. So you better have a guy that can motor around there. And Devin is a playmaker, and people really love what he can do back there. So it's going to be interesting. And the flip of it is, I think our pass rush is starting to come around a little bit. I think Jack Sawyer he dominated yesterday in practice. I had a really good source there. It was in practice that he was disrupting the offense, which is fantastic. It's great to hear. Disrupting the tackles. He goes primarily against the left tackle, JT we don't really flip. And JT's against the right tackle mostly. And I think we've got some really good chemistry going on the D-line. But Nevada, how good can this defense be? Because I know that everybody's worried about the quarterback, worried about the O-line, but I think this defense can carry and kind of erase some of the youth on the O-line and at the quarterback position. I think this D-line and this front seven is as good as we've had probably since 19, maybe even later than that. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on the defense because they've been whooping the offense in camp so far.
Yeah, no, they've been doing a good job as we expected. We've talked about the entire offseason how the second year in a Knowles defensive coordinator is a step up. We fully expected to see that happen. It's happening. The defense is playing at a very, very high level right now. Defense is going to be a team strength, and there's going to be I've been saving room on the bandwagon for all the people, all the Knowles makes $2 million a year, and the $2 million man peed down his leg and all that stuff. And now I'm just telling you, I'm saving room on the bandwagon for everybody. There's plenty of room for everybody. I've got Bud Light and Modelo Especial here on the bandwagon for everybody, depending on your preferences. And I think the defense is going to be outstanding. I think we're going to see that. We'll see it the first 3 weeks, and people will be like, "Oh, it's just there; those are cupcakes," and then they'll do it against Notre Dame, and people are going to wait for this defense to break. It's not. It's a really good defense. That doesn't mean they won't give up drives. That means they won't give up points. That won't mean that occasionally they give up a big play. But this is a very, very good defense, and this is going to keep us in a lot of games and put us in a position to win the national championship this year if we can get any type of play out of our quarterback. That is literally the only question mark I have, not on the defensive side of the ball. It's on the offensive side of the ball because I think the defense is rock solid.
Yeah, and I agree. I think our defense is going to be, A-, B+ range, which is good enough to win a national title. If we had that last year, probably don't win the national title. But I think that it all comes down to, will Ryan play the right quarterback? Will he hold the quarterback accountable? Will he, again, like we've got the best receivers maybe we've ever had, the best receiving room we've ever had with Marvin and Emeka. You look how deep we are. Julian Fleming is a guy that could get replaced by Carnell Tate. He's going to be another first-round pick. You got Ennis, you got Noah Rogers, you've got Xavier Johnson. Jaden Ballard. It's insane how deep we are at the receiver spot. We've got Cade, we've got Jelani Thurman, we've got G. Scott, we've got a lot of mega talented guys at all the positions. And then you even talk about running backs with Trey, Mayan, Dallin, Chip. It's a ridiculous amount of weapons. So, if they can figure this O-line out, which I think they're starting to, I think, you put a gun to my head, I think it's got to be Jimmy Simmons at left tackle and Fryer at right tackle, which that seems right at the right mix. I think that the most disappointing thing about this entire camp and spring ball is that we wasted a lot of reps with Josh Fryer at left tackle. I didn't think he was a left tackle. He's not comfortable at left tackle. We didn't look good at left tackle. Right tackle, he looked pretty good. I really liked it. So, you wasted a lot of time with a guy who's at a position he's not going to play. Move him over to right tackle, put Jimmy in at left. You got Donnie and Matt Jones. You got two of the top guards in the country, left and right. And at center, if it's going to be Carson Hinsman, who I know the coaches want Carson Hinsman to win that job. I know they want him to win it. All the signs want him to win it. Everything shows me they want him to win it. I've been in these meeting rooms where they try to just force feed a guy to win it. And even if it's, even if he's a little bit behind, they're still going to let him win it because they want him to beat out Victor Cutler at center. So Carson can hang in there at center. We'll be in good shape. And just run the ball, just protect these O-linemen, and we'll be good. But there's a lot of encouraging reports about camp. Jack Sawyer is leaner, meaner, tougher, quick first step. You got Kenyatta, you got Caden Curry coming off the edge. I think the pass rush is there. I think our DBs, our corners, getting their hands on more footballs this year in camp than they did at all last year during the regular season is a huge edge for the defense. Again, our quarterbacks are good. Our receivers win routes. They win them clean. So if these guys can stick with those guys and then get their hands on balls and turn the ball over and get interceptions, then it bodes really well for the season. I'm just telling you, when you turn the ball over, you won the turnover margin. Great chance to win, especially if we can be physical and run the ball. Nevada, as camp wraps up, we've got 2 days left. Well, really 1 day left. They've got scrimmage tomorrow. They move out of the hotel. Their 2 weeks of being in the hotel are over as of tomorrow afternoon. What are you excited about that's gotten accomplished over the last 2 weeks? I know it's been a lot of reps, a lot of work. These guys have been sequestered, but what are you the most excited about over the last 2 weeks?
Well, frankly, it's, and I hate even to talk about this, but I'm knock on wood, but it's the fact that we've been able to avoid major injuries so far.
Yep.
It's, when you have this many reps, what the good news is you're getting a lot of reps, you're getting a lot of chance to look at a lot of guys. The bad news is you get a lot of reps. That's a lot of opportunity for people to get hurt. And while we've had our fair share of the everyday nicks and bruises and guys being hurt this time of year, which everybody's hurt. We've avoided the big injury for the most part. We've avoided the big injury to key guys, and that's really the thing that I'm the most thankful for, and continue to knock on wood. And maybe if I speak it, it will not. It'll speak it out of existence by talking about it. But yeah, now that's the thing I'm most excited about, because I think Ryan Day's got a really good handle on where this football team's at. Do I wish that we'd had more live reps for the guys last year in games when against other opponents, to find out a little bit more about our quarterback position? Yeah, I do. But the bottom line is we don't. So we're still left with question marks about that. Do I think do I wish we'd seen more of George Fitzpatrick, of Zen Mikulski at the tackles? Yeah, because I think those guys can play. But the bottom line is we moved around a lot of guys. We've shuffled around a lot of guys. We've moved guys up from first to third to second, all around in different positions. So I think Ryan Day's got an idea of what he wants to do. That's a good thing. And I think we've got there without having any major injuries. So that's what I'm going to be thankful for. And that's going to be my major takeaway heading to the when we start getting to the beat of game prep for Indiana.
Yeah, I think that Ryan Day's obsession with stat padding is something that could come back to haunt us, but it won't this year because we've got 3 patsies to open it up. But if we ever actually open it with a real opponent like we did last year with Notre Dame or a team, it's hard when you are up 49-7 or whatever it is, and you don't pull the starters and you're throwing the ball because you want to pass CJ Stroud stats. Like, I think eventually that catches up to you. I think you need to play your young guys, especially the young linemen, let them get in there. Young quarterbacks need to run the offense. They can't just stand in there, hand the ball off, take knees, whatever. They need to actually run the offense, throw the ball. And that's something that it's a dereliction of duties is what Ryan's been doing the last few years, because he's so obsessed with stat padding. And again, that's fine. It's great. We're number one in the Big Ten in offense, but we don't have any Big Ten championship rings, and we got waxed by Michigan twice, so it didn't really help us. So I'd prefer that we get some of these young guys in, save these guys, the older guys from injuries, the guys that need to play, in the Michigan game, in the Georgia game, get them out of that game, get these young linemen in, get those young quarterbacks in, because, Kyle McCord should have more than the handful of throws that he had last year. Obviously, he won the Akron game 2 years ago, which, I could have won. My German Shepherd could have won if he would have started at quarterback and could have ran all over Akron. But I'm just saying, like, that's something that it'd be a good improvement for us to start getting some of these young guys in, because next year we're gonna have a lot of young guys. If we have the projected guys go pro early, and we have some of these seniors leave, which we obviously expect to leave, then you're gonna have a lot of young guys fill in. And you got to get Kenyatta more reps, you got to get Caden Curry more reps. You got to get the young linemen, the young receivers, like, get them in the game, and most importantly, get those backup quarterbacks in. If the backup ends up being Kyle McCord, Lincoln Keenholz, get those guys in the game, get them throwing the ball, not just handing it off. Nevada, as we hit this home stretch, we have 4 games. Obviously, that first quarter of the season is going to be huge. Opening up at Indiana, no one's worried about that one. Youngstown State, Western Kentucky. Then we get into Notre Dame. What are your bold predictions as we get into those games? Kyle McCord, obviously presumptive starter from both me and you. How does that shake out? Does Devin Brown get in? Does he ball out? Are people calling for Devin Brown after his first appearance? How does the defense do? What is your projection for the first 4 games of the season this year?
I think Kyle McCord will be the starting quarterback against Indiana, and I think Devin Brown will be the starting quarterback against Notre Dame. I think it'll happen that quick. I think the defense will ball out and continue to get better and be a force. And I think for Ohio State, I think we're going to run the ball a little bit more than people think. We talk all. It's funny, we've talked this entire podcast about all the great wide receivers, the quarterback play, and everything like that, but reality is we've got some great maybe one of the best running back rooms we've ever had. Certainly one of the deepest. And I think we got 4 guys in there that have career 100-yard rushing games in college with Chip and Dallin and Mayan and Trey. So that doesn't happen very often. And no, I think we're going to run the ball. I think we're going to be under the center a little bit more than we have been in the past. So I think our offense is going to look a little bit more traditional. I don't think the game is going to run quite so much through the quarterback like it has in the past, where we've been dependent upon the quarterback to make just outstanding throws to kind of get us out of trouble. I think our offense is going to look a little bit more traditional. I think that's probably a smart thing and a good thing.
I totally agree. I think if Ryan Day is smart, and I think Ryan Day is smart, sometimes he does some stuff that's incredibly stupid, but if he's smart, he's going to protect his quarterback and protect his offensive line. Those are the two least experienced positions on the roster. And, there's ways to protect those guys. Easier throws, easier protections, quicker throws, the whole 9 yards. Get those guys' confidence levels up. I mean, don't get back there and empty, chuck and duck like you did with CJ and some of those guys. Some of those guys that were better at it, they could handle that. But when you've got Kyle and you have Devin, and you've got a bunch of young linemen, 3 of which, have less than 1 career start. I mean, Josh Farr has 1 career start. Jimmy Simmons has 0 career starts at Ohio State. San Diego State starts don't matter to me. That's like starting in the minor leagues. Like, you're in the big leagues now, dude. This is Big Ten. So he has 0 career starts in the Big Ten. Carson Hinsman didn't play a snap last year, so you got to protect those guys. You got Donnie and Matt, good firm interior pocket. But I'm telling you, if he's smart, he'll make it easy on these guys. Run the ball, get their confidence up. Let Kyle McCord or Devin Brown hand the ball to Trey Henderson or Mayan or whoever you want to hand it to. Let him grind it out, get some yardage. Don't be obsessed with your stats. Don't be obsessed with your throwing yards like he likes to be. Just go win the game, keep the defense off the field, run the ball, stop the run. Easy formula, easy wins. We've been riding for a little bit, Nevada. Who are your stars of camp? Give me 2 of your stars, guys that have kind of popped up in camp and you've got a lot of reports on. Me and you always compare notes as to who is banging, who's doing well in camp. Who are the 2 guys that you've heard the most about, that you're the most excited about to see when we head to Bloomington in 2 weeks for the Indiana game?
For me, it'd be 2 defensive players. It'd be Davison and it'd be Jack Sawyer. I mean, those 2 guys, have been, I think they're the 2 guys that are like multiple silver bullet of the day winners or whatever it is. And, we joke that that's kind of like the employee of the month at Los Pollos Hermanos, that they kind of move it around or something like that. But no, I think those 2 guys are really, poised for big years for Ohio State. And, I could go up and I could throw Jordan Hancock in there. I could throw Jahad Carter in there. I mean, there's lots of guys, but it'd be both. We'd be guys on the defensive side of the ball. And I think Jack and Davison are going to lead the way. And Davison was such a huge get. I know I go on, but when your portal gets are Jahad Carter and Davison, you're bringing in 2 starters on your defense. That's huge. Almost 20% of your defense came through the transfer portal. Shows you what an important thing the transfer portal is in 2023. And I think Ohio State played it perfectly.
I totally agree. I mean, I would have probably picked Jack. Instead, I'll take JT. JT has been just absolutely kicking the crap out of our right tackles. Tigra moved over to the left side, but the guys he's been getting his hands on it's been ugly. I think that him and Jack are both kind of pushing each other to be better, to be lighter, to get home. I think that they had about 25 sacks that they left on the board that they were about a step away from last year. So that sack number could go from 30 to 55 real quick if they can get home and just kind of round that thing out. And, sacks are the ultimate game of inches, where if you get home, it's super close to it being an incomplete pass, a complete pass, whatever. So that little fraction of a second really adds up. And the guy that I'm really excited about is your boy, Trey Henderson. Trey Henderson's the guy last Saturday in the practice. It wasn't really a scrimmage from the people I talked to. It wasn't a full out and out, move the field, 3 groups, 160 play scrimmage. It was more of a practice with some move the field and scrimmage type elements. And he ripped off a 70-yard run, full pads, tackle, and he ripped it off. It wasn't an illegitimate run where people, were just tagging off and he just happened to run through their tags. Like, this was a legitimate 70-yard run. So the burst is back. He had guys trying to chase him down. He was able to turn on the afterburners to get away from him. So again, I love Trey Henderson. I think that he's a guy, him and Jack Sawyer, if I could buy stock in 2 players on this team, I'll take the 2 5-stars, nice and easy, but they're 2 5-stars that everybody hates right now. And I think Jack Sawyer and Trey are going to have massive seasons. And I'm really excited to watch these guys play because I think they've been beat down. I think that they're pent up, they're angry, they're in ripper shape, and they both want to go to the league after this year. So you're going to get the best of them this year in 2023 for Ohio State. Well, that being said, Nevada, any final thoughts? We'll wrap this thing. Again, appreciate all you guys tuning in after the fantastic Aaron Nolan performance. A lot of great high school football on Friday night. I know a lot of you guys are probably getting home from your area high school games, but any final thoughts, Nevada, as we wrap this thing?
I just think Devin Brown's the real deal, man. I mean, he's the real deal, and that's not being disrespectful to Kyle McCord, who could very well take the starting job and hold it. But I think when Devin gets his chance, if he gets enough snaps, gets enough of a sample size, I think he's different, man. I think he's a special talent, and I think he's going to do really big things at Ohio State. So that's where I'm at on that.
That's perfect. I mean, we've gotten unbelievable reports on Devin the last 2 weeks from people that really count. It's not just our people that watch practice. It's like the people that make decisions. So Devin's killing it. So we'll watch out for that. So if you guys want the latest and greatest on Ohio State football, BuckeyeScoop.com is your home. It is the #1 source for Ohio State insider information. You won't get this from anywhere else. If you guys need a companion for your college football season, BuckeyeScoop.com needs to be your new home. With that being said, if you guys could leave us a like, click subscribe, and click that little dinner bell. It's huge for us. We appreciate you guys so much, as always. Again, BuckeyeScoop.com. Our message board's absolutely crazy right now. It's filthy. We have so many good topics going on. Absolutely a blast to be on there. Nonstop action, great moderation. So we'd love for you guys to become part of our community. If you guys love Ohio State football, you love NFL football, you love betting, greatest place in the world for you. So I appreciate you guys so much. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation, and thank you, Scoop Family. I'm going to talk to you guys tomorrow. Big scrimmage coming up. We're going to get all the latest. Go Bucks.